The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 8 News Now or Nexstar Media Group.
President Trump wants this fixed, and I'm going to fix it.
Tonight on Politics Now, protests and politics. How ICE activity in Minneapolis could lead to a partial government shutdown.
The traffic congestion issue on the Spring Mountain corridor. Parking, it's really hard to find parking in this area. And also the public safety aspect.
Focusing on transit. County Commission candidate Minja Yan with visions for infrastructure and transportation in the Southwest Valley. Also, SNAP benefit changes. A look at new work requirements and how many Nevadans they impact.
You're watching Politics Now with John Langler on 8 News Now.
Thank you for joining us, and we start with the potential of another partial federal government shutdown. As of this recording, senators still have to pass a series of funding bills, and the deadline is Saturday night, Friday evening, right on midnight. Thursday, Senate Democrats did agree to a deal with the White House. It would keep the government moving until September. However, a bill for Homeland Security and ICE would only last for 2 weeks. Democrats are pushing for body cameras, mask removal, de-escalation training within ICE and Border Patrol. If there's a shutdown, Nevada Homeland Security personnel would feel most of those impacts on a short term. Meanwhile, this week, Border Czar Tom Homan arrived in Minnesota. It's part of a shift in immigration enforcement from the Trump administration. Homan says a drawdown of ICE agents and personnel could begin soon if agreements with state and local leaders are reached. Rashad Hudson has the story.
White House Border Czar Tom Homan says a change in tone is coming to Minneapolis, but not a change in mission.
We will conduct targeted enforcement operations.
Homan is trying to reset priorities following 2 deadly shootings at the hands of immigration officers, admitting the operation has faced serious problems.
Nothing's ever perfect, and anything can be improved on. And what we've been working on is making this operation safer, more efficient, by the book.
Homan has been on the ground there since Monday evening and says talks with state and local officials have been productive.
President Trump wants this fixed, and I'm going to fix it.
Democrats on Capitol Hill are calling for reforms to how ICE operates.
Their proposal includes tighter warrant requirements, more oversight, body cameras, agents removing masks, and clearly visible identification.
You see these videos again, you recoil. It's not America. It's thugs roaming our streets.
This is an out-of-control agency at a scale Americans have not seen in my lifetime.
Ohio Republican Senator Bernie Moreno slammed the proposal from Democrats.
The Democrats are arguing about the fact that they do not want to deport the very people that they allowed to come into this country.
As for Minnesota, Homan says he's staying put until what he calls the problem is resolved. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson.
Nevada's 2 most prominent Republicans are also pushing for some reforms. However, they still support efforts to secure the border. Governor Joe Lombardo and Congressman Mark Amodei this week both said they were distressed by the scenes in Minnesota. They're calling for caution and for people to wait for an investigation, specifically into Alex Preddy's death. Now, if there is a government shutdown, SNAP benefits should not be impacted. However, new work requirements will. They start March 1st. There are new federal requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents between 18 and 64 years old. They must be able to work. They must be in work, volunteer, or be in job training for 20 hours a week. There are some exceptions, though, for the homeless, for veterans, and for people who are aging out of foster care. Before, those requirements only affected people up to the age of 54, not 64. Nevada officials say the new rules would make 45,000 people ineligible for benefits. Nevada's charter schools have gotten a boost with some recent funding from Governor Joe Lombardo and the state legislature. This week, 8 News Now education reporter Josh Opiguero talked with the woman who leads Nevada's public charter school authority, Melissa McAdon.
Governor Lombardo has done a lot of things, some would say very positive in terms of education in general by infusing more money, but also with charter schools. I think now he allowed transportation for charter schools, but at the same time, he's passed reforms for the state public charter school authority. What do you make about, what Lombardo has done?
Yeah, I mean, Governor Lombardo is very on the record that he is pro-choice. I think there have been many things that have been incredibly helpful to charter schools and their enrollment, including transportation dollars in the last two sessions. Transportation was a major barrier to entry for charter schools for a lot of families. So certainly we have about half of our charter schools now offering transportation. That is huge. And as far as, accountability, certainly accountability is one of the tenets of the charter space. It has been from day one, accountability, autonomy for accountability. So accountability is something that we're very familiar with in the charter school space. It's been baked into the law from the very beginning. So that piece is really nothing new for the charter sector.
One of the things, I hear like prospective charter schools complain. They complain to me like, hey, they make it so hard for us to open. They put in all these sort of rules in place. They're making it impossible. What do you say to that? Because I know you have to strike a balance, right? You have to be able to allow charter schools to open, but you also have to make sure that there's a system in place that a kid will succeed.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is a rigorous process and it is hard to get a charter school approved, and that's by design, right? These are thousands of students, millions of taxpayer dollars. It should be rigorous. It should be hard. And only those individuals that we are 110% sure have a sound plan and have a group of people that are going to be able to fulfill that plan should be given the green light to open their schools. Closing a charter school is really worst case scenario. Nobody wants to face that. And so it is incumbent upon us at the authority to try to get it right on the front end so we're not facing closures on the back end, or even if we're not facing closures, so that we're not facing schools that aren't 3, 4, and 5 stars, right? Like, these students deserve to be in 4 and 5 star schools, and that's what our goal is. What's
the one thing they tell you that, they wish lawmakers would tackle? Is it student behavior? Is it maybe, putting up charter school teacher pay raises? What do you hear from them? I think the number one thing, it's the same for teachers, it's the same for school leaders, it's the same for charter school boards, right? It's equitable funding for charter schools, right? They want, we have half of our schools offering transportation, but that is not the same as being equitably funded like a school district, right? We should be able to fund all of our schools to provide transportation. We should be able to fund our facilities so that more money could be going back into the classroom and into teacher salaries. So it always comes down to equitable funding for anyone in the charter space.
McAdon was one of the founders of Oasis Academy in Fallon, Nevada. That's a 5-star K-12 charter school. More people are jumping into the race for Clark County Commission District F. 3 Democrats are now running. Minja Yan, former head of the Injured Police Officers Fund Mindy Lloyd, and human rights attorney Lena Havanesian. The Republican side also is crowded. Developer Albert Mack is running against State Assemblywoman Heidi Kasama. Former Republican state senator and also happens to be the former Gaming Control Board chair Becky Harris is running. She is a nonpartisan candidate. But back to the Democratic candidates for District F. As I mentioned, Minja Yan running for that seat. She works in real estate and with a major focus on the Chinatown neighborhood and the Southwest Valley. This week we discussed her focus on transportation and other goals if she's elected. Those are some concerns we've heard for a while from a lot of folks there. If you're elected, what do you do about it? It's all well and good to see, here's the issue. What's this? Yeah. What is the solution?
Yes, we have to invest in public transit, such as a shuttle that will help transport the tourists from the Strip to the Chinatown area to reduce the traffic congestion. And some of the new developments that will be coming up in Chinatown will have parking garage. So there's a new retail development that has announced in the Chinatown area on Spring Mountain and Valley View that will have a parking garage. So it will help reduce the traffic congestion problem and the parking shortage problem in the Chinatown area. And also the Spring Valley Metro Area Command has been doing a fantastic job of building community relationships with the small business owners to make sure that when there's a car break-in happens at the parking lot in front of these businesses, the business owners knows who to contact directly, which is the Spring Mountain Anti-Crime Resource Team, that they have officers that can speak Chinese and other languages to make sure that there's a community trust being built between small business owners and the police officers.
To have that relationship. You were talking about traffic. It was the first thing you and I talked about when you got to the station for this interview. One of your platforms on your website anyway talks about light rail, which has been brought up in Las Vegas obviously before. Tell me about what is your vision for light rail in Las Vegas?
Yes. We are the last, Las Vegas is the last and only metropolitan city in the Mountain West that doesn't have a real mass public transportation system. And as our population continues to grow, we're about to hit 3 million people in population by 2050. So while we're adding more people, we need to think about solving our traffic transportation problem right now to make sure that we can support the growth of all of these people in the future. So my plan for the light rail vision is start with the Southwest, build something for the locals, because I know that there have been light rail plans that have been proposed in the past focusing on the tourist corridor, but for me, because District F covers the southwest part of town, and that is the area that I grew up in. So I'm very passionate about building something for the locals to make sure that the residents in my district or throughout Clark County will be able to take these public transit system.
One of the other proposals is a loan incentive program for small businesses. I think it's a CDFI, Community Development Financial Institutions, I believe it is. What is, you think, the need, and how would that potentially work? And can the county even afford something like that?
So City of Las Vegas already has something like that allows some of the nonprofits like the Historic West Side School or the Mott Museum to apply for new market tax credit or historical tax credit through their CDFI to receive some of these fundings for their renovation project or the expansion project. Right now, I would like to expand this program regionally to help more small businesses because the local government has the capability to work with the federal level and our congressional delegations to apply for these federal grants. And Las Vegas is, Nevada is one of the states that haven't been applying for a lot of the federal grants. So we don't want to miss out the opportunity to submit our application for these federal level fundings that we can receive to support our local residents and small businesses.
How do you stand out?
I think I'm the only candidate right now that is focusing on transportation policies, and also I have the experience involved in local government regional growth and planning committees and discussions, and I have a track record in testifying for state bills or local government agenda items to support responsible growth and housing and transportation funding and policies, because housing and transportation has two sides of the same coin, so I have to cover both of them.
You can see our entire interview with Minji Yan at 8newsnow.com. We also have had other discussions with other candidates for that seat, District F, that is also at 8newsnow.com. Our primary battle, though, is shaping up for a different Clark County Commission seat. This is District G. Democrat incumbent Jim Gibson now is being challenged by Christian Solomon Lomu. Lomu says Commissioner Gibson isn't representing the value of real Democrats. An ad from Solomon Lomu you're seeing right here was posted on his Threads account. So far, Gibson's raised $450,000 for his re-election campaign. Solomon Lomu has raised about $6,000. A no contest plea from Nevada Democratic State Senator Edgar Flores. He was originally charged with drunk driving. This is video from Metro Police as officers found Flores asleep behind the wheel in September. Blood test results obtained by 8 News Now showed he was slightly above the legal limit, but this week he pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor. If he completes DUI school and pays a fine, the charge is dropped to careless driving. Flores did not appear in court. Next here on Politics Now, improving education. CCSD's superintendent lays out her plans to improve math scores. And tourism decline, a new look at the drop of international visitors to Las Vegas on Politics Now.
Welcome back. to Politics Now.
This week, Clark County School Superintendent Joan Ebert gave her first State of CCSD speech. She outlined some changes coming to the system. The superintendent focused on improving math scores district-wide. Right now, just 1 in 4 CCSD middle schoolers are proficient in math. Superintendent Ebert says math scores are a proven predictor of high school graduation.
The Clark County School District is made up of children. Those scores are coming from children, and we need to be clear, your child is proficient, they're excelling in English language arts, but they need help in mathematics.
Ebert also wants to expand pre-K, improve literacy, and enhance college and workforce readiness. Some signs of stability in the Las Vegas tourism industry. However, gaming and visitation numbers are still down. Clark County this week reported a 2% drop in gaming revenue from 2024. Those numbers, of course, come from Gaming Control. The Strip down 6%. Areas like downtown, though, and the Boulder Strip actually showed increases in gaming revenue to the state. The LVCVA's latest tourism numbers show a 7.5% drop in visitation in 2025. Key reasons include economic uncertainty and changing policies from the White House. Those numbers are, of course, key economic indicators for Las Vegas, and they also drove the discussion this week at the Vegas Chamber's annual Preview Las Vegas event. Business leaders say tariff uncertainty is still a big concern. I spoke with Chamber President and CEO Mary Beth Seawald about what resources are available for small businesses. From your discussions with business leaders in town at the Chamber, what is the brand right now of Las Vegas? It felt like so much of the discussion last year was specifically with the resort quarter. It's so expensive, and the visitation and all those other numbers we were talking about. But even beyond the Strip, it seems like there was a weird atmosphere business-wise. Looking ahead to 2026, what's the brand for Las Vegas? What's the brand for Southern Nevada right now?
Yeah, John, that's a great question. And I'm also have the honor of sitting on the board of the LVCVA. And so we truly are still a destination of one. There is no other place in this world like Las Vegas. And we're the food destination of the world, the entertainment capital of the world, sports, entertainment. We're building the Major League Baseball stadium now to add to that feather in the cap. So, I think really we're still capitalizing on all things that make Las Vegas so special. And you just can't get that anywhere else.
I remember last time you and I spoke here at the station, you were just on your way to do your expedition over to Washington, D.C. and talk to lawmakers. And one of the concerns that you had brought up was the effect of tariffs on industry, on businesses, on visitors from outside of the U.S. Has any of that stabilized? Do you think that trip helped? And just even if it didn't have an effect, have things somewhat stabilized on that business front?
Yes. Our annual Washington, D.C. fly-in is the largest and most robust fly-in in the entire United States. We take more than 300 Nevadans to our nation's capital, and we discuss every single issue that impacts Nevada, the entire state, not just Southern Nevada. And tariffs, as you said, it's all about uncertainty. And when businesses are uncertain, if people are a little nervous, they're like, well, we don't know what's going to happen today, much less next month. That uncertainty creates a lot of nervousness. But I think, here in Nevada and Southern Nevada especially, we're so resilient, and our small businesses have a vast array of resources through organizations like the Vegas Chamber. And so we're really able to prop them up and to be the thought leaders that keep them optimistic and keep them focused.
Next year on Politics Now, a conflict of interest. Why Mesquite's mayor is under fire for the city's pest control contract. And Colorado River negotiations, a late effort to reach a water sharing deal before the federal government steps in.
You're watching Politics Now.
This week, leaders of all 7 states on the Colorado River met in Washington, D.C. The goal? Hammer out a water use agreement before the Trump administration steps in. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum called this meeting. He's given states until February 14th to reach a water sharing agreement. Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo was among those who were there. The main sticking point: lower basin states like Nevada want upper basin states like Colorado to also face cuts when the river runs low. So far, no resolution. This week, Mesquite's mayor defended his record. Jesse Whipple faces an ethics investigation now over his pest control company's contract with the city. The contract hasn't gone out for bid in nearly 25 years. 8 News Now reporter James Schaefer explains.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes or any comments?
The Nevada Commission on Ethics meeting Wednesday to discuss a variety of cases, including one from November revealing the alleged conflict of interest case of Mesquite's mayor, Jesse Whipple, reviewing contracts approved by the city which have alleged ties to officials.
We recently had a settlement conference with Mayor Whipple.
I'm a contractor. And if I had employees doing that, I'd be broke.
In July, some Mesquite neighbors displeased Mayor Whipple's pest control company, Got Bugs, was contracted by the city and hadn't come up for bid in over 2 decades. A look at 1 month's budget shows Got Bugs charged the city for $575.
Wasn't trying to hide anything. Like I say, I'm severely undercharging the city for typical pest control services.
Whipple disclosing in public documents his ownership of the company and adding he discussed the matter with the city's former attorney, Michael Branham.
He did suggest that maybe we should run it by the Ethics Commission, which totally my bad. I never did. I, got into office, things got crazy, and I neglected to do it.
The mayor challenging that if pest control is an issue, for it to be reviewed at risk of stepping down.
And if the opinions state that I shouldn't be doing business with the city, I'm happy to step down. I make an incredibly small amount of money by the time I'm done with expenses on this contract.
That was James Schaefer reporting. The Nevada Ethics Commission case was heard before a settlement judge, expected to be on the March agenda. We're back after this. That'll do it for us this week here on Politics Now. For the latest political news, it's 8newsnow.com. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.